On May 29th, 2015, Splatoon launched to much praise. Over time, the game would gain more and more traction, becoming one of Nintendo's largest competitive games. With loads of fresh content being added every so often, fans had plenty of ink-based fun to enjoy. With its popularity skyrocketing, it didn't take long for devoted players to root through every aspect of the game in search of hidden surprises and Easter eggs. What they found, though, was far from something befitting the stylish and colorful world of the Inklings. It's a well-known secret by now. Wait around long enough after a boss battle in the single-player mode, and disturbing noises akin to screaming begin echoing from the eerie trench below the battlefield. Here are the sounds, as a refresher. While not outright horrific, the sounds were still enough to leave players unsettled. They seemed totally out of place, and despite the fans' best efforts to investigate, little progress could be made. Even the developers denied knowing about the noises, leaving every curious squid kid in the dark. However, with the release of Splatoon 2, I believe there's been a break in the case, and today I would like to offer up my theory on what the true cause of these sounds is. To start, let's take another listen to those screams. Now, the first thing that really sticks out in these so-called screams is that only about a third of what we're hearing really registers as a vocalization. The other 2/3 is made up of metallic clunking, squeaking, and bells. And this is actually a dead giveaway for the true culprit. You see, when Splatoon first came out, I was a junior in high school. I lived in the suburbs when this whole mystery was first discovered, and the noises were as creepy and mysterious to me as they were to everyone else. Time marched on, and the enigma of the screams faded into the past. Between then and summer 2018, when I picked up Splatoon 2, I'd moved out of the suburbs and into the city. As I launched into the new sequel, I was surprised to find that the screams had returned. But this time, I had new knowledge, gained from living in an urban environment, and could easily decipher what was drowning out the screams. It was the sound of trains. I've lived with train tracks right outside my window for 2 years now, and so I've become accustomed to all the odd sounds trains can make as they pass. The metallic clings, the screeching of brakes, and of course the bells. They all match perfectly with the audio we find in Splatoon. However, this still leaves some unanswered questions. Why trains? And what about the screams? Well, dear viewer, this is where Splatoon 2 becomes vital to the case. Or more specifically, Splatoon 2's DLC, the Octo expansion. For those unfamiliar, the Octo expansion takes place in a special area far away from the surface of Inkopolis, the Deep Sea Metro. It is here that you take on a series of challenges as Agent 8, an Octoling who has allied themselves with Captain Cuttlefish. As the 10,008th test subject of the Metro, you navigate these challenges through the use of a subway system. God damn it, not like that. See, trains. Trains confirmed. It's all falling into place. We're so close, I can almost taste it. So we've managed to explain the background noise, but what about the more macabre of those eerie sounds? Well, now that we know we can attribute their source to the Deep Sea Metro, the rest is fairly straightforward. The challenges test subjects go through are brutal and unforgiving. Failure means death, through either fatal error or the remote detonation of a bomb strapped to your back. On top of the tests themselves, the end of the Octo expansion reveals the reward for completing all necessary challenges. Being blended into a gooey mess for the use of your genes as a biological weapon. There's no shortage of horrors that Octolings are facing in the Metro, so it's not hard to imagine where those screams might be coming from. As for why Agents 3 and 4 can hear all that, despite the sky we see, Octo Valley and Octo Canyon are beneath Inkopolis, stretching downward like deep ocean trenches. All the boss battles and single-player modes take place in closed, mechanized arenas. It's not far-fetched to theorize that these areas could be deep enough underground to exist in close proximity to the Deep Sea Metro. With all this taken into consideration, we finally have a plausible cause for the unsettling noises that can be heard following boss battles. It's hard to say whether this was clever foreshadowing or a convenient cover-up, but one thing's for sure. The Deep Sea Metro has been operating for longer than we may have realized. For a game with a world as colorful and carefree as Splatoon, the series has never shied away from implementing downright scary elements into its world building. So to those of you who play Splatoon, enjoy the game to its fullest. And just remember to stay cautious, as you never know what dark secrets might be hiding behind this face.